and welcome to the Garblag Games Zweihander show. Watch out, things are about to get grim and perilous. Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of Grim and Perilous, the Garblag Games Zweihander show. I'm Pete the Games Master. In a moment, we're going to go round and the guys will tell you who they are, a bit about their character, and what they've spent their reward points on, because everyone got an advance after the last session. If you haven't seen the first episode, then we should have a link somewhere below, or maybe something hovering on the screen that you can click on. We will then do a bit of a recap, but before we do, we would just like to say thank you to our sponsors, the guys over at Zweihander RPG, the Grim and Perilous role-playing game, for sponsoring the channel while we do this short series to be a companion series for their Main Gauche Kickstarter. I forgot to mention last time that they're a double ENnie award-winning company now. They got Best Product and Game of the Year, Gen Con 2018, which is pretty cool. One of the reasons we wanted to check this out. And please go over and check out the Kickstarter. I've got a nice picture I will pop up on the screen very briefly, a lot more briefly than last time, as this is now an old picture. They've surpassed this. They have got to, I think, $50K.
Wow.
So they're doing really well. They released all of their stretch goals. They've now got purity seals for combat conditions. They're doing a cover for the Main Gauche, which is done by I can't remember his name. It's on the Kickstarter, but he did the Realms of Chaos book for Warhammer back in the day. So very interesting. And considering this is the Chaos expansion for Zweihander, it's very appropriate. Anyway, that's cool. So there's loads of cool Zweihander stuff. Go check it out. There's links below. It's all very cool, and we're enjoying this already. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're doing loads of stuff on there, sharing lots of things. It's all kind of pointing towards our Patreon. If you could go and check that out as well, that would be cool. We have been doing some maps, some adventures, some behind-the-scenes videos. We've done some background stories for our Mage the Ascension game, Masters and Monsters. So there's loads of stuff on there. Please go check it out. Please consider supporting the channel. Anyway, before we go round, our usual disclaimer, we are not experts in Zweihander. We are very much enjoying it, wanting to get to grips with it, and we will take it as we go. We are running the adventure from the Main Gauche Kickstarter, the book. So what we do here, you'll be able to replay. I've put a slightly different tinge on it. I'm doing it slightly differently because I don't want to give everything away. I want it to be similar to your experience, and you guys can have something of a surprise in it when you actually get it. So anyway, without further ado, let's go round, and we'll start with Colin, as usual, on my left.
Cool. Yep, I'm playing Theory, the halfling, totally legitimate businessman. And yeah, I had a look at my advances, and I've actually swapped out some of my starting equipment I haven't used yet because I realised that I can't actually use a pistol.
Yeah.
So
that's best.
having a flintlock that I can't use well didn't seem like a good idea, so I swapped that out for blackjack, and I have picked up larceny as a
Talent.
That's
yes.
the one.
Which makes you good at bargaining with people.
Gives a bonus to bargain when either fencing black market goods or trying to get hold of illegal information or information about illegal things or something.
Might come in handy.
Might just thought it
Maybe.
seemed like something that might be yeah.
Which don't you say? I could find a use.
So playing Bertolt, the human ranger, whose profession is gamekeeper. So a quick look on improving his agility as a man of the woods, as it were. I thought that would be appropriate. And as of last week, he's a fairly quiet, hands-on sort of guy.
Yep.
So
bit grumpy.
Little bit
or just
grumpy.
a bit of a loner.
Bit of a loner.
Okay. Cool.
Likes his own company.
Hi, I'm Roger. I'm playing Feltix Warren, and I am a gnome diabolist. And
not that people know that.
No, not that anyone knows that. As far as
You're
people
an
are
academic.
concerned, I'm an academic because magic's illegal. But definitely a really good way of getting power.
Yes.
I'm Jax, and I'm playing his bodyguard, essentially. I've got to make sure that the gnome doesn't get brutally murdered or damaged in any way. And I've increased Intimidate with my experience. So
It's appropriate.
I try and scare people off rather than having to resort to violence.
Yes, okay. It's probably a good idea in Zweihander because we have been looking at some of the rules and we are realising that this is an extremely dangerous game. And you can be brutally murdered quite quickly, especially if you're a small halfling.
I increased my willpower bonus. I forgot to mention that.
So that improves your peril threshold.
It did improve my peril
So you're
threshold.
harder to freak out, which makes sense.
Probably because I'm the one doing the freaking out.
Yes, you are, with your weird eyes. Yeah, not those weird eyes. Anyway, last time on Grim and Perilous, our, I was going to say heroes, but that's really the wrong term. Our band of misfits found themselves on a journey down the Basque River at the behest of Maximilian Steiger, who has sent you to guide the gnome Feltix to Cahabro to investigate some documents that have been found. However, we now know as players that this is not really the main goal of this adventure. You made your way to Lloyd's Beacon, a very small village on the river, where some dodgy reeves were manhandling people, and someone broke onto your boat, and before dying in a sort of
Broke onto it. He was helped onto
he was helped onto the boat. Before dying, sort of gurgling from horrible stab wounds from one of the reeves, secreted something on your
actually
boat.
mentioned that to anyone yet.
No. You then left after some nice stew from Ethel, the elderly lady who kept people warm. She was nice.
No, it's not the stew.
Oh yeah, the stew. It was greasy. It served for a spell, so yeah. Anyway, you made your way further down the river after discovering the note that had been secreted on the boat, which had said, there is witchstone coming into Minuet, which is where you're going.
I would just like to point out, by discovering you mean two of the party discovered.
Yes,
I haven't mentioned it to the other two.
Yeah, that's true.
Very true.
Theory found the note.
You kind
Theory
of
was
went
trying
off
to
on your
decide
own.
what to do with the note.
Yes.
I was going to mention it to you, but you were kind of busy.
Well.
Yeah. And Feltix managed to do a little cack-handed grasp kind of thing and get a hold of the note and read it, and was very
Bertolt
interested.
Would probably just shrug. And go,
Yeah, whatever.
yeah, whatever.
So you headed down to Minuet, where things suddenly got a bit stormy, and the rain came in, the river got a bit choppy, visibility dropped, and you moored at Minuet, but your boat was sort of tousled, and in the rain, and it was sort of getting dark. You couldn't really see much further down the river, and the tollkeeper came out from his little tower there at the side of the river, and gestured you into the village proper, up to One Eyed Jakob's. You didn't really get much of a view of the town. You know, it was quite muddy. It was very rainy. You just kind of made your way to this large building with welcoming lights, but not a very welcoming doorman, who was quite gruff with you. And later on, in fact, he was getting a bit handsy with the workers at the brothel, and you witnessed one of the workers punch him in the face and knock him out. And she seemed delighted by this and shared her delight with a lady called Marie, who you met. And she had found you all quite intriguing. And she seemed to be new to the area, recently joined working at the brothel, but she seemed to have an air about her that none of the others did. But it was late, you'd eaten, you'd met the proprietor of the brothel, but you had either gone to the common room to sleep or to a common room with some other people and had an enjoyable evening. Well, yeah. Make a toughness roll at plus 30%, Jax. Have you got toughness as a skill? You do, don't you?
I do. Yes. I passed that. Yes.
Okay. You have a thoroughly satisfying evening. All three of you are very happy the next day, as Vivian and Julian spent the night with Jax. And you come down in the morning to a nice breakfast, feeling with a bit of vim and vigour. And yes, I feel good about things. And you see the three of them, if they're all awake yet, coming out of the common room, looking a bit like they've slept on a hard floor and a bit cramped. The rain obviously seeped in, but the fire went all night. You were kept warm, so it may not have been perfectly comfortable, but you were indeed warm and dry. So you are all in One Eyed Jakob's, but before we get into the adventure, we have a few things to sort out. First off, we need to account for the fortune pool. So there are 4 of you. +1 means there is a pool of 5 fortune. I believe I've got some dice down here somewhere. Are they?
Yeah, right in front of your hand.
Oh, there we go. So there's 5 fortune there for you guys. If you use those, then I get a misfortune point, which I can use against you, which is always fun. You spend your reward points, so we've done that bit already. Review damage condition track. Is anyone hurt from last time? I don't think anyone's hurt, are they? Update trappings. We've done a little bit of that, but only because of random character generation.
Tweaks and stuff like that, so, yeah.
And determine the initiative ladder. So this is where everyone rolls 1d10 and adds their initiative value. Let me get this written down.
16.
I can't. You've got those crafty dice that mean I can't see what you're doing from over here.
16.
16. Anyone got higher than 16? No? Okay, who's next after 16?
14.
Yeah, 14.
14?
13.
Sure.
I love how I've got hand shot first,
Feeling a bit
but I'm just
tired.
going first anyway.
Is that
Oh,
about
yeah,
right?
So I basically
It was
get 2
all right.
rounds at the start of if things kick off.
That's handy.
And while we're on then, just, it's slightly sore, has to be said.
Yeah, I bet.
No, your toughness roll was a good one, so you're okay. You're not sore or itchy at all. You're fine. Okay, so I quite like that little rule in Zweihander. It allows you to switch into combat quite quickly and not have to break initiative. We can just go straight into it. As we saw last time, we used it as well for a little decision between the 2 of you guys, Roger and Colin, to see who got to go first on something. So
Which didn't make a huge amount of difference.
No,
I just
it
caught
didn't.
it and handed it over to him.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
But yes,
But a nice little thing.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let me sort that out. Okay, so the 4 of you meet up in the bar of the One Eyed Jakob's, and there Vivian is actually down from the room serving drinks, breakfast ale to a few villagers who have slept in the common room and they're kind of dragging themselves out. And she gestures to a table for you and says, I'll bring some breakfast over for you in a moment. Just take a seat. And she wanders off. As she does, Marie, the dark lady from last night who Bertolt was kind of transfixed by. She's an Aridane. She's got dusky skin, long black hair. She doesn't have her hood and cloak quite up and about her as last night, kind of down around her shoulders. And you can see she's wearing red clothing underneath. But she's keeping herself modest compared to the other workers in the brothel.
not very hard.
No, it's not. You've got your trousers on, then yeah. Okay, so so she sees that you are sitting around the table, and she sort of walks over. There's a calm, measured confidence to her steps. There's no kind of hurried, I'm not here to sell you something. There's no fear. There's no, you are 4 kind of strange figures coming out of the dark, but she seems perfectly fine with that. Make a perception awareness roll. Sorry, just a straight.
Yes, I'll pass it.
There is something to the way she walks that indicates she may have gone through drilling, military training, something like that in the past. She has a certain stature to her.
A bearing.
Yes, exactly. And she kind of walks over and she says, would you mind if I joined you this morning before I go about my business? I thought our conversation last night was very interesting, but it was late.
Oh, feel free. I will say, gesturing at a chair.
Thank you. And she kind of sits down. I am very interested in all new arrivals in town. Obviously, we here are encouraged to get to know new people in Minuet. But the four of you seem like you have some sort of purpose about you. You're I hope you don't mind me saying, but a strange bunch of individuals to be grouped together. Doesn't seem that something that would be of your own choosing necessarily, she says, looking at all of you.
Yeah. Halfling kind of shrugs.
Well-
Not too bad once you get to know her.
We all have jobs.
I mean, you said you're an academic last night, but I mean, what?
I have my duty to fulfil. And when a job needs to be done, I'm usually the guy that gets it done.
That's good to know. That's very good to know. Yes, you asked me yesterday if I'd heard anything strange in town, anything curious in this area, and upon reflection last night, I did realise that I don't know if you know the story of Count Byron and his coterie of artists that moved to this area. Strange people, hedonistic group that were trying to I don't know, arouse the common folk in an ill way.
I'd have thought hedonism would be right up your alley.
There's nothing wanton about what we do here. The workers here work hard. They have very little choice in their life. Many of them are at the behest of louts like Diesel or Conard. There's not much, that they can do in these towns, in these villages.
I just meant that hedonism is what you sell here. What are they doing that's different to the setup here?
They were artists who had strangely captivating works of art, paintings, sculptures, statues, much of which had a very... She kind of waves her hand around towards like the candelabra and some of the kind of fittings, a more extreme version of what you see here. Very base, primal, sexual desires being expressed in very intricate forms. It's perhaps taking this a little bit too far. And I hear they were fixated with some sort of statue that one of them felt was a source of a muse for their group, and I've heard that one of them has been moved to this area. I don't know what's happened to their whole movement, but I hear one of them is in this area, has come here. Whispers in the tavern say there are people wanting to sell extreme forms of artwork. I think the Madame is kind of concerned that maybe people may not come here as often if they have other outlets for their desires. I'm not sure. I wondered if you had heard anything on your travels of the Fulci movement or Count Byron or any such things. Make folklore rolls plus minus 30%.
So when you've got the bonus,
Yep.
So you've got that ticked.
Yep.
So
That's a plus 10 to your
so
stat.
that's a plus 10.
Yep, but
Oh.
minus 30.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm 50, 20%.
No. In fact, I
no.
critically fail.
Critically
I
failed.
rolled a
88.
3,
Don't know much about artists.
and I have folklore.
Okay. Feltix, you have heard of Count Byron. He is a notorious libertine from Cahabro. which is a very cosmopolitan city, but even for that city, his tastes were seen as extravagant. But as you remember, he had a salon of layabouts, dilettantes, and artists who hung about with him until he left the city, who were really laughed at by some of the other circles that they weren't really that skilled. It doesn't seem to quite match up to this sense of great artistic skill that she is getting across to you.
All right. I just heard he was a deviant.
Well,
His
I was
artist
trying
was
not to be so...
His artists were subpar, from what I hear.
Well, I think this is the strange thing. It seems some sort of muse gave them artistic skill. I'm just very interested in it from a personal point of view.
Do they possess artistic skill, or do they just claim to? There's a big difference.
I don't know. They haven't been seen. Only apparently one of their movement is in this area.
What kind of artist doesn't want their works shown?
I don't know. It's very, which is why it is a strange story that I thought I would tell you. You asked me for anything strange in the area.
And who is this one in the city?
Sorry?
Who is the
person here?
Person in the city.
I don't know. She says. Make awareness rolls. Minus 20.
Yes.
Same detail?
Yes.
So does that mean I ignore 10 of that or all of it?
I think it's 10.
Okay. So I've got minus 10, which means I need 41. And I get another 88.
Okay.
My dice are not liking me this evening.
By 1. I pass.
You passed.
21.
You are convinced that she's telling you the truth, and in fact, you are quite sold by her right now, and you think she is not in that kind of way, but just in a. She seems to be very open, telling you an interesting story, and it's maybe something you tell other traders on the river. It's like one of those cool, over a pint kind of chats that you can throw into a conversation with another merchant that might get you a little bit closer on a trade or something, those kinds of things. Everyone likes their story about a deviant. How did you do? No. There was a little.
That's like twin.
Yeah, maybe she looked down and to the left, or up and to the right, or whatever it is. But just briefly.
I think you might know more.
She kind of looks like she suddenly recollects something. Perhaps if you are around tonight, this early evening, we may talk further. I have some things I need to attend to. And she kind of suddenly stands up quite abruptly.
Anything we can help with?
I will call on you if I need your aid. And she goes and she just kind of walks towards the door. As she opens the door to leave, a young lad comes in and he's like, looks around. Oi, who's Bertolt?
I'm Bertolt. What is it?
Hello, Governor. Guy down at your boat. What's his name? Diego. He said you guys got to come and talk to the toll keeper or something. And the toll keeper told me to come and talk to you as well. So looks like both of them want to talk to you. Think you need to pay the toll on the river? I don't know.
Gentlemen.
He kind of hangs around for a moment.
So I'll flick him a coin. So yeah, thanks, lad. Gentlemen.
Thanks, mister.
Do you think we should all
go? He goes over to the bar. Can I have a pint, please?
Double shots.
Slides a penny over them. Cross a brass penny off your... Yeah. You've only got a few.
After breakfast.
Yeah. Okay.
Finish breakfast.
Yep.
Finish breakfast, then we go.
So I think, Bertolt
a warm
sort of
meal.
shrugs, looks at the other three, stands up and starts walking down to the boat because he said he would do.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Sort of, that's his style.
Sure. Okay, so you guys are finishing your breakfast.
Are we following?
Theory, what are you doing?
They're finishing.
I'm going
finishing.
to try and mingle a bit and talk to some other
Sounds
people
good
and
to
see
me.
if anyone else heard anything about this.
Enjoy the hot meal.
This
Beats that stew. Beats
Byron
those rations on
Jack
that.
or his
Okay.
Exactly.
whatever it is.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so you're going to do that.
I'm
Right.
going to try and use my rumour skill.
Yes. Yes. Right. Let's have a roll for you then. We're going to say it's -10 because there's not many people in here.
I have a specialism in gossip.
Okay. Therefore, ignore what I just said. Go for it.
It'll be another 88, won't it? No, it's an 18. I actually passed.
Okay. Right. You start to mingle. So you sort of talk, go over, buy a drink, talk to a couple of people. So it take you 5-10 minutes to sort of carouse that information. You guys finishing your breakfast?
Yeah.
Enjoying breakfast.
Okay. Bertolt, you head off down to you squelch through the mud.
Yeah.
And you're now out in the village, and there's a pause in the rain. You can feel the weight in the air, though. You know the rain's going to come again. The sky is still a bit grey, but it's brightening up, but overcast. And you can see now that Minuet is a small trading outpost sitting on one of the Basque's many tributaries. With a population of around 100 souls, most of the people who live here either own or work in the various establishments which cater to passing travellers such as yourselves. For the most part, the buildings are simple one-storey wooden affairs, apart from One Eyed Jakob's, which is a taller building. There are a couple of other taller buildings, but this seems to be the main one. Most businesses, as you walk down to the river, you can see are sort of dotted around, and you can see that there's a general store, a couple of other things sort of dotted around. And on the river, you can see the stone toll house. Before the Blood War, the village was a frequent and popular stop on the river route to Drax Landing, which is further down the river. But in the wake of war, trade, and visitor numbers having declined, rerouted to better exploit the demands of the growing numbers of refugees elsewhere, this is a dwindling village. And you can see that some of the buildings are vacant or boarded over, and there seems to be sort of a sort of thinning sense. People who are moving around the village look gruff, grumpy, downtrodden, sort of heads down, or rough. And you can see a few peddlers with little carts going around, sort of trying to sell the odd thing here or there. Again, people with fish, a couple of other things dotted around. There seem to be one or two other travellers in the town who look like they've travelled in on foot rather than on river, which is interesting. But you make your way down to the toll house, and here you can see next to the toll house there's a winch and there's a boom that goes down over the river to stop boats actually going past Minuet without paying the toll.
Yeah.
As you come down, there is a chap standing there by the toll house, looking out, keeping an eye on things. And Diego is standing at the dock, and he's like waving you over. And as you come over, he kind of points at the side of the hull, and you can see that there's some cracks in the wood. This is look, like when we docked last night, when it all got a bit rough. There's been a bit of a bash. I'm gonna have to stay here and like fix it.
How long is it going to take to repair?
It's not major. I mean, we could make do with a patch till we get down to Drax Landing or Cahabro, but I don't want to go more than a few days like that.
That's not ideal with the amount of goods on board. And
no, and he kind of looks past you at this shitty village behind you. I'm not sure there's really that much. Is there a carpenter in town? Is there a boat builder? I'm not, not sure.
One or two shops, but I can make inquiries where we're staying to see.
The guy by the toll house goes, "Oh there! Sorry, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation."
Is there anything you can do to help?
And he's actually quite far away, so you can tell he's kind of
earwigging.
earwigging. Oh yeah. I know a local ship. Well, I say shipwright. He builds boats. You know, he lives he's got a little hut down the river where I could send a runner to go and get him, and maybe have you, back on the river in a day and a half. I think if you want it properly fixed. I'm not sure what your time scale is. I mean,
If I look to the captain and say, "Do you think we have time?"
He's kind of. I think we should.
We'll do. Sounds more sensible to repair it properly.
Diego
rather
turns
than
around
take a
to
risk.
he turns around to this guy and says, "How much?" And the tollkeeper kind of scratches behind his neck and he says, "Well, look, I tell you what." And he kind of sizes you up and down, and he sees that he can tell from your kind of demeanour that you're a fairly honest, hard-working man of the land. Diego himself is a fairly honest-looking riverman who's plied this river, and he's probably met this guy once or twice before.
Yeah.
He said, "Look, I have a problem that I need help with, and I saw you and your guys last night in the rain. It was hard to see, but I could tell you've got a couple of interesting fellas with you. Look like you guys might be able to,
interesting.
you might be able to handle yourselves."
I think we could. What is it you require us to do?
Can you he says, gesturing over towards the toll house, maybe come over here just where we're not quite out in the open.
Okay, so
don't worry.
Sort of
Diego's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll keep an eye out from here."
So yeah,
He looks behind, and you can see he's got his crossbow.
Just
got a
sat
crossbow within reach.
easy
He's
reach.
like,
So Bertolt, agrees to follow the guy to where we're to one side.
So he takes you over to the entranceway. He doesn't take you inside.
Yeah.
But he says, "Look, 3 nights ago, my assistant, cheeky little shit, tried to break into the money box where we put all the toll, and I had to throw him in one of the cells in the toll house. Reuben, cheeky little shit. I think that he's working for Conrad. This guy runs a town, really. He's a dirty piece of work. This guy is strong-arming everyone, forcing people out of the village. He's a low-life piece of scum. But I am one man, and I cannot really do much in this situation.
And what is it you want us to do?
Well, basically, I've got someone coming to pick him up. Yeah? But I think they're going to come and try and break him out. Because they don't want me proving a connection to him, and that there's something going on with the Reeves in their area. There's some ring going on. I don't know. It's dodgy. Yeah? I think there's stuff going on tonight. I mean, it's the 13th. It's an unlucky number, isn't it?
For some, yes.
But I think they're going to try and come down here tonight and break him out. I've heard some whispers and rumours,
And do you want us to prevent that from happening, or?
I would like some people to come down here, show some face and some steel, not come to blows. I don't want a fight on my hands. He's got a bunch of, I think they're a load of convicts at the old Reeves who were in the area before. When they got fucked over, all the convicts that they were holding got let out. I think they now all work for Conrad. I don't know. I can't prove it. But I think they're going to try and come down here and break him out.
Okay.
And probably kill me. Get someone in my place to control the river. We don't want that. I think things are coming to a head. Something's come to the town recently. It's all since that girl arrived. She's kind of stirred up. He's obsessed with her, as far as I know. And it's stirred up his...
Conrad is obsessed.
Conrad is upset, as far as I've heard. Whenever I've been in the One Eyed Jakobs, if you catch my drift. But I hear that he's got a bit of a thing, and he's, I don't know, there's a lot going on in the village. For such a small town, there's a lot going on.
Will you allow me to discuss this with my colleagues?
I would, but I would hope that you would not, share this wider.
It will only be between those that would be willing to help you.
But look, you know, the shipwright would charge you an arm and a leg, probably a couple of gold crowns to fix your boat. I mean, I don't know if you've got gold crowns lying around, but I'm happy to pay that out of the toll box if you help me protect what's going on here. Justice.
I'd certainly be willing to help, and I'm quite happy to ask the rest of my party if they will also.
Well, I wouldn't ask for anything else. Look, be careful. There's stuff going on in town. Keep your ears open and your eyes open as well. You may hear something. I don't think you should come back. I think you being here now, you're paying the toll. That's all. I'm going to waive your toll for today, by the way. But if you come back, then it looks like you know. Go talk to your friends. If you're here tonight, you're here tonight. If you're not,
And what
I'll
time
deal with
would
it
you
myself.
want us here tonight? And can we get access to the building, or?
Yeah, when you come back, I'll let you in. We'll be here. It's like a small tower. It's probably just a 20 by 20 room inside, and maybe upstairs a place for him to stay because obviously he lives here. But it's like a stone building, so it's probably the most secure building
Fairly solid.
in the village, in the town. So he's probably safe there as long as he keeps the doors barred,
Yeah.
you know, and doesn't let anyone in.
Okay.
Unless they were to set it on fire or something.
Yeah.
You know, so he's just clearly, he's worried. Make a folklore roll plus 20.
Yeah. So I get folklore, so plus 10.
Yep.
So that is that. So 40. Yes, 36.
Okay. Your experience, you've gone on a few river trips here, there and everywhere. Normally, toll keepers, you slip them some coin, do some stuff. They're dodgy guys. They own the river. Yeah. So they're like, lordy, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
This guy seems like he's an honest,
They're usually jobs
dutiful.
worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he seems he wants to do the right thing. You can
Okay.
see it as someone who holds duty highly yourself. You can see the same thing in him.
Okay.
Anyway.
So what time can it? Sorry, will it be here at dusk?
Sundown. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get the rest of the party to join me, and I will see you later on.
Yep. Okay.
Even if they don't, you know, I'll be here.
Okay. Right.
So he'll
you-
stick to it, yeah.
Yep.
So I will then, you know.
He shakes your hand with a firm, but not like I'm trying to outshake you.
Yeah, but
Just a very grateful handshake.
bit of thank. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then he pretends to take some money from you, and then you head off.
Okay.
You think he probably feels like he's being watched.
Okay. So at this point, I will then make my way back.
Okay, cool.
Towards the
One Eyed Jakobs.
One Eyed Jacobs.
Okay, cool. So while all that's been going on, Theory has been moving about the tavern, talking to Julian, Vivian, a couple of the other farmers and villagers in the town. And there is a... Bear with me for a moment. Where are we? Where's the page? There is a lady in there who seems to be having a glass of wine. It was quite early. And she introduces herself as Katerina Lanterman. She says, hello, young man. I don't think I've seen a halfling in a while. And it's very, very nice to meet you. I'm the local herbalist. I run the Lanterman's Remedies. She says, in a very grandiose way, but you can probably imagine some kind of small hut made out of wood with a little crooked sign over the door. She's a nice lady. She's probably early 40s, slightly thinning hair on one side of her head, and quite a large boil on one part of her face. But she seems very jovial, very nice. And she's, how can I help? I mean, are you new to town? New to Minuet?
Yeah, we're just passing through. We've on the river.
Yes, I mean, it's interesting times these days. The town's not in the best of shape, I'd have to say.
I didn't get a very good look at it on the way in.
Well, you know, it's a bit rundown. A few of the proprietors have had to leave town and sort of head either down to Cahabro or Drax Landing. There's a bit of a sour taste to the town, but I can't leave. I have loved ones here, and I have a business. And to be honest, I kind of keep a lot of the people in town going. I help out at the brothel with various remedies, as you can probably imagine, which is they give me a nice free glass of wine in the mornings. Nothing strong, just to help me along. But yes.
I was hearing some interesting stories about some artist in the area or something.
Artist in the area.
Yeah.
Oh. I've. Do you mean that there was something about some chap from Cahabro?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Get the word.
Yeah. Some chap Byron.
Yeah.
I think he had a group of courtiers with him. They came from Cahabro to the area. Most of them have gone. That was a while ago. It was a while ago now. It was,
Imagine you would have.
months ago. But there was that lady who came to town. She died a little while ago. Zacharias was her friend, and he's still in the village. He's been nosing around for a while. He's a strange young chap, isn't he? It looks like he's always waiting for something to happen. And of course, we have Marie. Now she has put the cat amongst the pigeons. There is something strange about that young lady, if ever I saw one. She has blood running hot, tempers fraying everywhere, teaching the workers to protect themselves. I hear that old Diesel had a bit of fun last night.
I think he was enjoying himself until she hit him.
Right. No, I don't know. I've had some dealings with her, and I find her pleasant. But some people around town have said she's a strange influence on people.
So this woman you said came here and then
She's
died.
she's trained military.
So who was she? Sorry.
Oh, I can't.
She's been,
See if she remembers.
I don't know, drilled at some point.
I can't. I'm afraid I can't remember.
Makes
Ask
sense,
Zacharias.
working here, but
Which one's Zacharias?
He's a pale, thin chap.
no,
He's often lent over a book. He's
Again.
staying here, I
we
think.
don't tend to do that for women.
Right.
So,
Yes, that's what I'm last night.
anyway, just watch out for that.
So that's the gossip that you get
Something
from
I'm
your
interested in.
interaction.
Okay. Or studies or something.
There's a shipment coming in later of something of interest to my employer.
Aha!
I'll potter back
Okay.
over.
Yeah,
towards
just
you
as he says that.
Okay, we're staying here then today. For tonight, then.
It's coming in tonight.
Yes, you think on the
13th.
13th, and that is today.
some point today anyway.
I think they said in the evening,
think-
didn't they?
You think, considering
What it is.
what it is, that they may do it when it's dark.
Is this books or something then?
No. It's
Or something.
it's an or something. It's a stone that would be of great interest to my employer,
Alright, well,
and I'm sure he would want us to obtain it for him,
are we buying it or are we taking it?
whichever we need to.
Okay. Whatever.
Have a corruption point.
Okay then. Where's that?
I back a bit, forward a bit, so yeah.
You are openly thinking about maintaining this kind in the middle. So you put the points in the middle. Yeah, and at the end of the session, we roll some dice, and if you get below it, then you gain a point on your chaos track. So the more corruption you gain in an episode, the more likely you are. But then you have to get to the full crack on your chaos track before you then get a insanity or something.
Mutation?
No. It's a
taint.
a condition. Yeah, something like that.
Like a taint.
Taint. Cool. Theory's joined you again. He's been sort of chatting around the pub.
Hear anything interesting?
A few bits and pieces. Apparently, the artist Zacharias came here with some woman who died. I guess maybe the woman he was drawing.
No, he's drawing Marie, wasn't he?
No,
Oh,
I
no,
think
sorry.
that's a different chap.
The Zacharias is the drawer.
It
wasn't
looked quite similar to Marie, but the hair was different, if you remember.
Yeah, it was curly rather than straight.
Now she could have straightened her hair.
Not
couple
the
of-
easiest task.
Couple of hot swords. They aren't irons, are they?
Well, there are irons.
Yeah, you could just do that.
Iron your hair.
People do that.
People do, yeah.
do it.
Putting GHD tongs on, that's just ironing it.
yeah.
That's
You get blacksmith's tongs. It's a business line that you could go into. Anyway, medieval hair straighteners. It's like a torture device. Perfect for Main Gauche.
So anything regarding tonight's transaction?
No, nothing much to do with that. Nothing.
Is it coming in by boat then, this thing?
We're not too sure.
The boat was named to.
Oh, no, there wasn't any.
So yes.
Yeah.
I've asked you trying to... Anyway.
No, I'm not trying to be
Obtuse. You
Yeah,
just forgot. Yeah.
I just didn't remember.
Yeah, it's coming in by boat.
Simon knows
The
that.
character
Jax doesn't.
Yeah.
Whereas mine's the other way round.
Just swap characters.
No.
Perhaps the tollkeeper might know something.
Possibly.
As you say this, Berthold comes back into the inn. You guys have finished your breakfast now, and you've been talking with people. So a bit of time has passed.
Yep.
And Berthold comes back in with muddy boots, but he's stamp at the door.
Oh, looks like the rain stopped.
The weather does seem to be improving a little bit, but we have bigger issues. I've been down to the boat. The boat seems to have
How
suffered a
are
bit of
we
damage.
actually having this conversation?
Huh?
Are you walking over to the table? You doing it from the
No,
door?
I'm going over. I thought
Yeah,
we'd
you sit down at the
established
table and
that
you're
we
just
were,
chatting.
Well, yeah, so far it's only about the boat.
Let's throw it up.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
you
gonna
guys are a
discuss-
bit further away from everybody else. They're all kind of sitting at the bar eating stuff. They're individuals, whereas you guys are at a table at the other side of the room. So
I'll actually
you
be
know.
having my breakfast now.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are sat together at this point.
Yeah.
Not we're having a conversation
Yeah.
at one end of the bar
So,
to
when are
another.
we stealing?
There are some
Yeah.
evil people.
So we have an issue with the boat. It's taken damage in the storm last night. I've been
Okay.
advised it's going to take another day, a day and a half to repair.
I see.
Okay. That works for you anyway, doesn't it?
Yes. That could work to our advantage.
Okay. So we're in the process of getting someone to come in and have a look at it. It could work out quite expensive, but I may have a solution with a small job offer if we're interested, so it won't cost us any money to pay for the repair.
Well, it's not.
Have you ever heard
My
the phrase,
boat's repair.
if something's too good to be true, it normally is?
I've offered to help,
What's the job?
so I have a quick look around. Do I need an awareness roll or anything, or just
Yeah, make an awareness roll to see if you think plus 20 to see if you think anyone is like
within?
actively listening to your conversation. Everyone can do this because you're all sitting there.
34, so that's a pass.
Well, if I see you looking round,
Plus something, was it?
Plus 20. I still
Something
fail,
other than
but I don't
pass,
critically fail this time.
let's go and
Lots of 80s.
walk.
You don't think anyone's listening, but there are about 8 people in
If
the
you
town.
do a very definite look around, slightly shifty shit, so that I'm
Yeah,
just
but if
going to
I've on an awareness I've passed, it's sort of.
You've passed, and you
Yeah.
think no one's listening.
But
But
you
Jack's
don't know
still.
whether-
If
Jack's
I
still.
think you're concerned about the people listening in, which looks like you are, let's go for a walk. There's no way we're
No harm in it. Let's go.
we can walk
Okay.
out into town and you can see how good the weather actually is.
So you wolf down your breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe take it with you. You know, in a big bit of bread. Hollow out the bread, stick some stuff in it, take it with you, and you head out into the town. And as I described before for Bernhardt,
Grumble a bit about the fact that they're dragging me out on still eating.
rushing breakfast for you. First breakfast.
you can see that the town is in a bit of disrepair. Some places are empty, some are not. As I said, you have a few establishments in the town. You can obviously you've just come out of One Eyed Jacob's, but you can see near the toll house there is a general store. And now that it's been mentioned to you, and in your mind's eye is almost correct. There is a hut to one side which has a sign over the door says Lanterman's Remedies, and then you can see now in the clear light, well, overcast light of day, there is another tavern sort of across the way, which is called Sigmund's Flask, and it has like a big sign with a tankard on the sign. Other buildings look run down, boarded up, ramshackle, and you guys kind of walk out into the town. I would say square, but it's a bit more muddy. There are a few cobblestones that they've obviously tried a long time ago to improve the ground, but it's still not great underfoot.
People soon rip them up to make repairs.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that sort of
absolutely,
thing.
absolutely. So there's a few peddlers around selling a few things. There's a few people making their way from one building to another. You can see a man standing outside the general store in a kind of apron. He's quite lanky, with a smile on his face. He's just kind of looking out. So he's taking in some air. But there's no one in your immediate vicinity, and you think you're probably safe to talk.
Yeah, only discuss things in brothels that you want the whole town to know. First rule.
It's not somewhere I tend to hang around in, if I'm honest.
Take my word.
So, I've been talking to the toll keeper, and he seems to have an issue with the main guy that's in control of this town. He's concerned that a guy, a former employee of his, that he believes has been helping himself to the tolls that he has got secured, is going to be removed and released this evening from the tower down by the dock. He would like us to assist in preventing that from happening. I've offered to help. I think it would be a good idea to avoid the expense of fixing the boat, if all of us get involved and we can prevent any issues. My only concern, well, one of my concerns, is that the tollkeeper is concerned that the local reavers are going to be involved, which could be a problem. But my view is this is a really trustworthy guy, and it's the quickest way for us to be getting out of here and moving downriver to get the boat finished. Otherwise it's going to be very expensive, and unless you've got gold coin to pay for the repairs, we'll be here for a lot longer, and I for one don't want to stay here for much longer.
I think this is more your area than mine.
Well, I'm keeping you safe. I mean, I don't give a shit about this tower, bloke or whatever he's got.
Have you seen the tower? Look at it. It's the safest place in this place. It's a lot safer than that shithole brothel up the road.
Yeah, I don't give a... I'm here to keep you safe. Like, helping out against a local hard man with all the reeds don't sound like a safe thing to be doing.
Well, I don't have the most steel, he says, producing a small knife. But if it'll get the boat fixed, we need to get on our way. We've got business to do. If this will pay for it, we need to do it. Also, it's down by the docks, which is where we want to be tonight.
It's not where he wants to be.
Well, he can do that afterwards.
Can't afford that every night.
Agreed then, gentlemen?
Sure.
Okay, as you're walking,
I mean, just something on the note of the reefs being involved in dodgy things. The chap on our boat last night.
Last night?
The merchant?
Yesterday. No.
The
dead guy.
The bleeder.
Oh, the stabbed
The
chap.
bleeder.
Oh, the wounded chap.
He'd been stabbed with a thin blade. One of the reeves was carrying that kind of, yeah.
Quickly putting the
I'm
abominable
pretty sure
knife
it wasn't
away.
you, because he was coming towards us with a wound.
You stabbed him, you did it very sneakily.
But, yeah, one of the reeves was carrying that kind of blade. The sergeant, in addition to his standard gear.
So they were chasing him and killing him.
Chasing him and killing him with a dagger that...
Seems an unlikely weapon for a reeve.
Yeah.
I would have thought they would have had a sword or a halberd or something.
They had swords, but apparently he chose to stick the guy in the kidneys with a...
Well, whatever gets the job done. Brilliant.
I don't know.
So the reeves are a nasty piece of work, is what you're saying.
And
Well,
dangerous.
that's not unusual, but
They're normally supposed to be keeping the law, not arresting people, not killing them, and then...
yeah, so if the reeves turn up wanting an arrested guy, like, shouldn't they have him?
But then why would they stab him?
No, I mean this guy tonight, the guy with you.
I
The
didn't
guy
think it was
wants us
the
to
reeves
protect.
that were coming, was it?
You said the reeves might turn up.
What I'm saying is that the reeves may be involved. I'm only just saying what the tollkeeper's concerns were. It might just be a handful of
You turn
a
up,
few
you see who's
locals.
there. If a load of reeves turn up and ask to take away the person who's been locked up in there so he can be put on trial somewhere, we're hardly going to be picking an argument with them on that.
It sounds like we should be handing him over at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, they may not be. I don't know.
So you guys are kind of walking
Picking up-
around the
Yeah,
town
yeah,
a little
just
bit,
have
and
that.
as you're making your
doing
way
the
around,
job, sounds like
Yeah,
a
you can
bad
hear coming from further down the river, past where the boom goes over the river, a bit further down towards the kind of little wooden palisade that goes around the village, that kind of in a semicircle to the river. You can hear a faint voice going, help, 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 get me out of here, get me out of here, please, help. Make awareness rolls. Discern detail.
Help fire. Roll the correct
No,
dice.
no, I'm blessedly
No,
unaware.
Yes.
I'm looking the other way.
0-4.
My, what fantastic architect.
Yes.
0-4.
Standard village stuff, sir.
Anyone who passed
No.
recognises the voice as the bouncer Diesel from One Eyed Jacobs, and you can tell that it's coming from further along the riverbank, and you can see there a small unmanned shrine to the God Emperor is sitting there, a little structure, and beside it there is a gibbet with Diesel in it. As you approach, you can see that he is restrained, and
Not sure how close I'm getting at the moment.
but no, as you kind of walking along, you can kind of see him now, and you
Okay.
kind of picked up on it first and kind of looked, and then everyone looked in that direction. you can see this
You choose
large
to pay
guy.
attention in the direction the halfling's looking.
Locked in the gibbet next to the temple. He's obviously been there all night. He's soaked. He's dirty. And he's grabbing kind of at the bars of this kind of cage thing that he's in. Always reminds me of Willow when Mad Martigan's in the thing. He's in there. He's got his hair's all greasy and he's kind of unkempt and disgusting. And he's kind of help, let me out. Do you do anything? You leave him there? You're going to approach?
Bertolt's having a look up. Just leans up against the fence post that's
nearby,
and just
he sees you, and he's like, "You got to help me, please. You got to let me out before that monster returns. I'm begging you. No, look, hang on." And he kind of points behind you.
Okay. Looking where he's pointed.
Okay, and you guys see,
casually look around.
as you turn around,
Not casually.
you see a halfling walking down an alleyway.
What, another halfling?
Another halfling.
Okay.
And this halfling has in front of him 2 growling warhounds. Berthold, you have a sudden flash.
Yeah.
Take a point of corruption.
Blimey.
Berthold's backstory is
Involves snarling dogs.
involves
Yeah.
dogs.
It does indeed.
Yes. And he has a 5 o'clock shadow. He is skinny, not like a standard halfling. He looks trim, fit. He has scars on his face and a twisted smirk. And he's seems to have a crossbow on his belt. He's not doing anything with it yet, but he's got these 2 snarling dogs in his grasp on leashes. And he says, "I hope you're not planning on doing anything stupid."
So Berthold looks at the party and goes, "Breton warhounds, be very careful." So he recognises
Aye.
the breed of dog straight away. So he warns the rest of the party.
You've
"Let's be
handled some
safe."
of these before, and they are vicious.
Yep.
Han and Franz here will have your throat before you can even draw your sword. Now, stop what you're doing.
We weren't doing anything. We just heard a noise.
He looks between all of you, and he's kind of like, there are 4 of them. He looks quite tough, though. He looks seasoned. He looks like he's been through. You particularly look at this guy and think, Blood War veteran, maybe. Thinking about it, you could probably be more used to me than this idiot here I've been talking to. I'm looking for a dangerous criminal, supposed to be here in town. A woman, an Aradane woman. They say her name's Maria or something? I don't know. You haven't seen her, have you?
And
There's a
who-
crown in it for you,
And
if
who
you've
are
got any
you?
information.
Berthold just shrugs.
I'm
No,
Ludo
no.
Halferman. I'm a bounty hunter and not someone to be trifled with.
Oh, steady on. We're not being harsh here. We're
I can
just
see that.
asking
He's
questions.
kind of he is pulling back on the dog slightly, and although they're like this at you, they're
Yes,
kind of
okay.
pulling back. Pete dog. Look, there's gold in it for you if you've got a good tip for me. Don't tell me to look at the brothel. That's what they all say. I know. They're. She's not there. I've been there this morning. She's not there. Do you know where she is? Do you have any information about her? Why she might be in town? Or what she's doing? If you have, he pulls out a shiny gold crown. Quickly, but then puts it back away. He's not an idiot. And he says, that crown there's got your name on it if you've got good information for me.
Well, we don't at present, but we could probably find some.
I like this.
Where can we
What's she
find
done?
you?
Why is she dangerous?
Well, she's I've been hired. Make a charm test.
By whom?
Oh, charming. No. I wonder whether I'll intimidate the fucker.
Who's asking? He says.
He's the
You're
one with
coming
the
to us and telling
warhounds.
us the shit.
Hey,
You
look.
don't know about her.
I've been hired to find this woman. It doesn't matter who's hired me. You know? Just trying to find her. I just need some information.
Well, the more information
I haven't seen you guys
easier it
around
will
town
be.
before.
Only just arrived.
Like,
Well, then
turn up
maybe you
and-
could find out some information for me.
Quite possibly, but the more you tell us, the easier it will be.
Make a charm roll.
Yes.
A charming gnome. Well,
Fine. Look. This sickly boy hired me. He's pale. Very good hair. I'm not very good with names.
Zachariah?
That's the one.
How
That's
do I
the,
know that?
that's the
Am I
fella.
talking to you as GM or am I talking in character?
You're talking in character because you, from the previous night, you all found out who he was. Yes. Look, I got 3 of those shiny coins. If you've got information, he's got concerns about her. She's a criminal. He knows she's been up to no good in the local area.
And where can we find you once we find it? Because you being in the area would just make things more problematic.
I'm around. I've been talking to a guy who owns that shitty general store. Not much use. Very overpriced. But he can get a message to me if you need to.
I'm going to look him up and down and go, you are a bit obvious. Probably best you're not in the town when we try and make our inquiries.
Oh, I'll keep it low. If you're going to find out information for me,
So what do you need to know?
like where she normally goes at night, what she does, what her activities are,
Do you know
anything about that.
what she's wanted for? Because we don't want to be hunting her if she's some kind of assassin.
Look, he's told me she's a renegade sorcerer. And she needs to die. If she is, and I've ways of figuring out these things, if she is, then I'll dispose of her. And you'll be greatly rewarded for helping me get rid of chaos influence in this area. There's something going on in this town. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it. But I need some outsiders to help me. They're all tight-lipped. There's some criminal gang running this place. Keep them all scared. Don't know who they are, but maybe one day I'll have to fuck them up as well.
Well, we'll make some inquiries and see what we can establish.
Good, good. Talk to the chap at the general store. I can't remember his name. I know his face. I'm good with faces. Right. But yeah, much appreciated. You know, if it's good information, I'm willing to pay you more. Yeah. So if you
How
know,
much
like, where she
more?
might be tonight, that would be useful.
How much more?
Maybe make a roll against me. Against my willpower. Your charm against my willpower. Hang on.
Can't it be the
let
other
me
way
get the-
round?
No, you're trying to convince him. Let me
No.
just.
I was inquiring. He said we'll pay you more.
Yes, and in inquiring, you're trying to influence him into. Wait a second. 20 opposed.
What did you roll?
Don't forget, you can use fortune points to do things. Immediately after failing a skill test, you can spend a fortune point to re-roll, but you have to accept
We'll
it.
need the fortune points when
During
we're laughing
combat-
these dogs up.
During combat, you can use it to get an extra action point. And immediately after rolling a d6 chaos or fury die, spend a fortune point to treat it as a face value of 6. So in combat, you can turn.
We're going to need those for
So opposed test.
later on.
When stabbing up those
I'm not
dogs.
sure you
Yeah.
need to roll.
So it's degrees of success.
Oh,
The
degrees of
tens die.
failure. Okay.
You determine degrees of success
4.
by adding together the tens die.
How can you
I rolled 86.
Oh, you failed.
Yeah.
No. Degrees
But
of success are
it is
different in
slightly
this,
weird.
so it works different. So it's good to point this out now. You add together the tens die and your relevant attribute bonus that the skill is derived from.
So you want to pass, but you want
But
to
to pass
with
close
as
to
high
your
as
skill.
number as possible.
So if your skill is 45, you want to roll a 44, you take the 4, you take your attribute bonus, which might be 5, and then your result is 9. And then I do the same, compare those numbers.
Okay, it's nice.
That's
If you
how
both
it goes.
fail, how do you do it?
If you both fail, then it's a stalemate and nothing changes.
Okay.
So he might say no.
So you
Okay.
see-
And it's based on
That's
his
nice.
current
How's
demeanour.
-7?
So yeah, I've made my offer. So
5 gold crowns, if it's worth it. And 5 gold crowns is a lot of money.
yeah, I'm seeing
For
that.
information, this guy really wants to... You're wondering how much Zacharias is paying him to capture
my
Marie.
current
Who was
purse.
Zacharias? Zacharias was the drawing guy.
Yeah.
yeah,
My purse currently contains 8 brass pennies.
Yes.
So
Well, for 5
1
crowns,
gold crown is a lot of
I'll
money.
deliver a trussed up and in a wagon for him. I'm saying that once he's the father fucks off.
Fine, and he goes. So he's like,
5 crowns,
5
I'll deliver a
crowns.
trussed up in a wagon.
How do you know she can't pay us more?
How
She's
do you know
clearly of
you're
interest.
actually going to be? If he's offering that much money, I'd be wary of. The thing about bounties is if you get drawn in by the ones that are paying a lot of money, you need to ask why they're paying that much money, because
Yeah, but Zacharias spent all last night drawing her and seeing her
That
last
wasn't
night.
Zacharias, was it?
That was
that's
Zacharias.
Zacharias.
Yeah, that's
So,
Zacharias.
and now he's paying a bounty hunter to fight her. The bounty hunter he's paying like God knows what. Doesn't know where the hell she is. How
does he not know where she
How
is?
does he
when
know where
she
she
was
is? Literally, he was sitting in the bar staring at her for like 3 hours last night.
No, she only came down at the end.
Okay.
And he stormed off.
He was only staring at her for half an hour, but whatever.
Right,
he knows exactly where she is.
But yeah, it's very
And
strange.
why don't you just tell the halfling?
Bertolt will
Yeah.
just, I will not be involved in bounty hunting. That's
I'm
not
just
what I want to be part of.
to be
I
honest,
don't want to be standing on some tower as all the fucking reefs turn up for nothing.
You get out of it
At
quicker
least
if
this
you
might
do.
get 5 crowns out of it, or whatever, a crown each.
You can have the
If
money,
he
but
pays.
the sooner we fix the boat, the quicker we get out of here. That's my view.
I'm
If
just
you want
wary
to
of
chase
getting
money
caught
and
up
skirt, that's
in-
up to you.
I think
I'm just
Theory
wary of
makes it.
getting caught up in this because we don't know what's going on.
Oh no, my preference is to get the fuck out of here. I'm just trying to keep you alive. And
Picking
all
a
this stuff
fight with
doesn't seem like a
potentially,
good idea way of doing it, but
Picking a fight with potentially a
Either
sorcerer
way,
sounds
yeah,
like a bad
If
way
they're
of.
telling the truth and she is a sorceress, handing her over, not the easiest task.
Feltix, I'll go with your decision on this one. My view is we steer clear, we get the job done down at the toll tower, and we get out of here.
Well, we know where she is. There's no reason that we don't have to.
We don't.
We
know if
don't have
she's
to
lying
supply
now.
information to either side. In fact, my opinion was we could get information from both sides. Marie wants to tell us something tonight. She can tell us something tonight. The more we know, the better we're off. Knowledge is power, my friend.
And when are you meeting? When are you supposed to be talking to
what kind of power felt it? Oh, sorry.
When are we talking about meeting Marie?
Not later
you
today.
said
tonight.
sundown, didn't you?
Yeah.
So-
So we have a decision to talk to her, or I will go to the toll tower
Well,
to
I'm
do
sure
what
we could-
I've.
I'm sure
I've
we could
said
do
I will.
both. They're only a couple of 100 yards apart.
Well, my view is that I will be at dusk at the tower.
Have a fortune point, Paul. You're playing your character's duty alignment very well,
Okay.
and I think you should have a fortune point for that. So just represent that with a D with a dice. Just take that over to the other side. So you can use that if you want to, but
Okay.
remember, if you use them, I get them.
You get them. Yeah. Okay. So that, yeah. So Bertolt, very much. That's what I'm going to do. If you want to get involved in their games, you can.
Are you not intrigued?
No.
Maybe it's
Intrigued,
just me.
but also wary. Those kinds of.
Well,
People throwing around that kind of money usually results in several people dead, and I'd rather not.
oh,
be
I'm not
one of
sure I
them.
want to get involved in the escalation.
What you got? Are you still hanging around by the temple?
Sort of
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
it.
I'm off.
Because
while we're there,
Diesel's in the thing.
No, no,
we're not talking.
You're a bit further away.
I'll wander over to the temple and pay respects to the emperor because
Okay. So
that's
you go into the shrine, and it's dedicated to the god emperor with an offering bowl, dominating a small, modest altar. Spent candles and traces of burnt incense can be seen sort of dotted around. Make a folklore test, plus 10%.
Yes.
The pattern of candles and incense and the smell is not right for the god emperor. It's off. These offerings don't look like they were actually made to the god emperor, but it was done in a holy site. Make a incantation test, minus 10%. So you have to, what is it? If you don't have the skill, you have to flip.
You have to flip if you succeed.
Yeah.
So,
So you want to roll something like that's low in the same number.
11 or 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 and 51. So no, I fail on the flip.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it just looks.
I'll pay my respects, do
Yep.
appropriate sacrifice, or
Yep.
say the right words.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go out and I'll mention it. Oh, well, yeah, something weird. You know, shit.
He'll just roll his eyes.
I do know shit.
And I drink.
It's wrong. Some people are being the incense and everything else is wrong in there. I've no idea what they're
Let's have a
working
look.
towards, but
And
Okay.
as you're talking, he's just going to start.
Okay, so the two of you walk back over.
I'll amble,
Right,
I'll amble
both-
in with them.
Okay, you're going to amble in as well.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
we'll all
Okay.
go. Yeah.
Everyone make scrutinize test, plus 10%.
Scrutinise is under perception.
Yep.
perception.
Yes,
Yes,
so
I know that.
Plus 10%. Yes, I pass with the plus 10%.
No,
Anyone who
Not a clue.
passes recognises a lingering scent in the air. Not the incense itself. Something. There's a trace, maybe on the door frame. Someone's brushed into it or something. There's a lingering perfume that you have smelt before at the brothel.
Is that Marie's?
It smells a bit like Marie's perfume.
Why am I not surprised?
Right, so anyone looking at the offerings, make an incantation test, minus 10%.
I'll make the roll.
Smashed it.
It's your thing.
I fail before flipping it, and I fail after flipping it
Oh,
as
yes.
well.
I've
Oh, no,
got
I
incantation.
must if I flip me success, but I can't.
So bear with me while I just get to the right.
Oh, no, I just
I
failed.
went to last year.
Whatever.
Look, I know things and I don't. Because saying it the other way around could be copyright infringement.
Yeah. I don't think that's quite. Okay, so this is not the pattern of who passed, sorry? No, yeah, just Feltix. Okay, Feltix.
Just
You've studied lots of offerings to lots of gods. Yeah, all different manner of patterns.
even the dodgy ones.
Maybe just to know the enemy.
Exactly.
Honest.
Know the
enemy. This is not how one would pray to the god emperor. This is in fact how someone would pray to the steward, who is a foreign god, but respected all the same. Honor and dignity are highly important. His priests must not only respect their commander, but also show pity and respect to prisoners of war. They have things called iron abbots, who seek out mutants and the abyssal. They're faithful of the steward, call themselves iron abbots. And the symbol of them has suddenly popped into your head. It's like a spear with a flaming shield in front of it. The steward rules over a particular type of war. The brutality of combat has turned into a true art form and a game. And the steward is now the lord of this kind of war. Not brutal savagery, but noble sacrifice on the battlefield.
So Stuart basically very, very honourable god.
But it's a foreign god,
Foreign,
which is
but
why you didn't necessarily
foreign, but good.
recognise it. Foreign, but good. But it is known to have Iron Abbots get very close to chaos, which is how you've learnt about this.
I don't know what you're implying.
Reading about certain things, you often come across stories of Iron Abbots being involved in far-off countries, and often those stories end with those Iron Abbots being corrupted by chaos. You don't know whether those are kind of fiction to juice up the story, make it a bit more tragedy kind of thing, or whether it's very factual. But your mind is cast back to these kind of stories that you've read about. Hopefully that noise isn't being picked up.
Okay, I'll basically relay the gist of that.
Okay.
So, is that
You've heard of the steward.
Is it from the same place that she is?
Yeah. It is worshipped in that area, yes.
So it's nothing untoward per se.
Yeah,
She's paying respect to her god in the same way that you would to the god emperor.
It's like you ought to be doing it in someone else's shrine, but
Although if she's some renegade sorceress, it does seem to be a little odd. The stories don't seem to match up unless she has been corrupted like they apparently do in the stories. Although that's not corroborated anywhere. That is pure. That's, hearsay.
Zacharias seems
I don't think
weird. So whether he's paying money to have her smacked on the back of the head, or paying money to get hold of her and making up the story about sorceress, I mean, God knows.
did you say that they kind of hunt out chaos?
They do, but
Okay.
sometimes chaos hunts back.
Okay. She could be here looking for something. You said earlier that you can't quite work out why she's here. I think she's looking for
I
something.
think she's looking for that statue.
I think she's also looking for that statue. That's clearly an item of perhaps power and interest.
Oh, she mentioned that section one, didn't she? Yeah.
Again, that could be worth obtaining for our employer. He might be very interested in such an object. Items of learning, of course, to be kept safe and controlled.
As you're talking, you hear a voice from down the road. Oi! Oi, get off! Get off! And you turn, it disturbs you, and you kind of turn. Diesel looks from between the bars, his lank hair dripping. And you see one of the peddlers who'd been selling some fish in the town square is making his way, obviously, back to his little hovel somewhere. And a couple of ruffians are standing around him, a crowd of like 5 guys standing there. And one of them says, "Oi, you were 5 pennies behind from last week. You owe us another 5 pennies, you fucking idiot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take your shit and we're going to punch your face. Get ready."
Bertolt will step out of the shrine, take the bow from his back.
Yeah.
Twitch the bow so he can hook it.
Seeing this happening, I'm stepping behind him.
So
Okay.
he's not.
Yep.
I'm going to try
I
and
would
find
get
somewhere
ready if I were you.
to linger.
Not
To
our
hide.
problem.
I'm going to
Doesn't
hide.
matter.
Okay. Make a stealth.
Whether I'm intending to ambush someone in a moment.
Okay, so you're going to notch an arrow and start to
Notched,
draw.
and he's
Are
got
you-
it drawn, and then he shouts at the guy,
Okay.
no further.
One of the guys starts to like take stuff out of the guy's while you're doing your bow.
Yeah. So
One of the guys starts
he's
to
got
like
to
take
knock
stuff
it,
out,
he's
and the other
got
guy's
to-
going. "Meh."
Yeah, that'll take
I
about
don't
30
do a
seconds.
particularly
Yeah,
good job
it's gonna
of
take a
hiding,
while
but,
to knock it.
About 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then he shouts at them.
And what does Berthold shout?
always stop it.
What,
said-
what, what's
he said-
Jack? Why are you doing that? What are you doing, Jax?
He doesn't give a fuck.
I'm moving to one side, really, but making sure I'm between him.
So he steps behind you and you step to one side.
I love it.
Oh yeah, no,
No,
mirror that.
I'm
It's
not
great,
being
I love it.
direct. Basically, he's stringing a bow. I'm not being standing
Right in front of
shoulder.
him.
I'm
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so 3-4 beats, just a little way away.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're just
He's
looking
probably
at,
going-
looking at them and looking at him and just
Idiot.
Oh, here we go.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Okay.
and then looking at you.
What's he doing?
But yeah,
He's working for you. Tell him to cut this shit
yeah,
out.
who do you think he is? Fucking Robin Hood.
I've never met him before. Then.
Yeah,
Okay.
We always do this.
He's notched the arrow on the string. He's drawing it back.
You might want to calm down there. We are strangers in this village.
Well, yeah,
It's just-
they're probably the Reeves.
If they are Reeves, I don't think we should be pointing arrows at them.
Well, yeah.
he's just in the little sort of entrance, just having a little conversation, just going, "What is he fucking doing?"
Pretty much.
They've got cestus.
Oh, actually,
Cesti.
does
What's a
does
cesti?
this count as an urban environment, or are you too far out of the town?
No, you're still in the town. You're still in the town. So yeah, I would say
Also, we're
it's
still
it's
within
it's.
Then I pass the hijack.
I'd say it's mixed urban, not
Mixed.
full urban.
Are we,
Mixed urban.
are we still
Well,
within
if
the
you can only
boundaries?
get half
Sorry, I do.
Are we still within the boundaries of the?
You are, but it's kind of sparse.
Cool. I just get +20 to hide in.
Oh, okay. So
Oh,
you've
brilliant.
Streetwise. So I
Okay.
do successfully.
You are clinging onto the back of the gibbet behind.
He's basically trying to
Diesel.
get himself in a position where he has the
That's
option
brilliant.
of ambushing someone with a blackjack. Whether he's
Okay,
gonna
so you've gone
take
down.
it
A,
or not
so you've
is another
actually
matter.
gone down the
I'm
alley
deciding yet.
that Ludo Halferman came from.
Probably.
So you've stepped into that alleyway, which is kind of a good space on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
They're a bit further down.
Yeah.
If
I
I
may
go
or may
over,
not help you.
That's fine.
I
I
have
get
one
more
more.
like
initiative than I thought I did.
hide in the town.
I'm actually +3 on my initiative.
+3 on your initiative.
I just looked up what Underfoot does.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
No, I think I've already added that.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
you haven't.
You sure?
Oh no, yeah, 3 plus perception bonus.
Yeah.
So 3 plus 4 is 7, and then I get +3 from Underfoot.
Oh, okay, cool. Is that a new one, or is that one you had?
No, that's
Oh,
one that you.
sorry, I did your numbers wrong.
So I'm in fact on initiative 17.
Okay.
So you're winning.
I'm going to hide.
I
You're going
don't
to hide
have-
very quickly.
I don't have stats for cestus.
Look.
Oh, I do. Here we go. Cool.
So I'm just standing by the So he's standing there with
It's
his.
like a
What the
punching.
fuck are you
It's a
doing?
punching weapon.
Are you going to kill him?
I'm going
Because
to.
if you don't, they're going to fuck him over twice as bad tomorrow or the next day when you're not fucking here.
So this should be. Well, let's.
So they're rummaging in his stuff, and he's going, "Look, it's
That's
10
why
brass
you're
pennies
doing it,
now.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
How much of
that's
this?
fine.
How much?
Yes, it's-
They're arguing over by the peddler's thing. One of the guys on the fringe of the group, who's kind of standing, going, "Yeah."
Realizes there's someone pointing a bow at him.
like that, as people are arguing. He kind of looks over and sees you standing there with a bow.
standing there, point.
It's like, what the
I'll
fuck is
point
that
the bow
guy
at him.
doing? Okay,
Are
Right.
you going to fucking kill him? Are we killing these fuckers?
Willem,
Oh, he's going to get twice as bad
That's
tomorrow
what that
if you
wanker over there's doing. And the
I'm-
guy who's got the peddler with his hand, he's just about to punch him with this big fist.
We're being paid to fucking look after the gnome, not to.
I'm not being paid to do that,
Aren't you?
and I won't suffer that sort of aggression.
He looks up. The guy looks up and looks at
And
you.
then, so
And it's like,
Bertol sort of lowers the bow, looks at him with disgust, raises it again, then draws it back, shouts, "Stop!"
do you want to try
What
and stop him
you're
from doing
doing.
it?
I'm not stopping. I'm going to step back. So he's here. I'm going to step back so I'm 3-4 meters away and a bit forward of him. So I'm not in
Okay.
bow range at all. But
Sure.
I'm not next to the guys.
Yep.
Yeah,
Are you drawing your
looking
sword,
towards them.
or-
No, the sword's by my side. They're not close to me, are they? So
No. They're
Yeah, it's
a space
bow-
away.
Yeah,
You'd be able to shoot and then get another round of shooting, probably.
my sword's visible, but it's not drawn. It's
Sure.
not got a hand.
Okay.
I'm just standing there looking pissed off.
I
Really.
try and hide.
The main
Stop
guy is
what
going,
you're doing.
what the fuck are you going to do about it, eh?
I'll fucking shoot
If
you.
you're in the tentacle
You
bit, I don't think you're
fucking
immediate
idiot! Just fuck
visibility.
off, or he's
Okay, yeah.
going to fucking shoot you.
Make
Just fuck
make
off.
an intimidate roll.
Can I make an intimidate?
And
roll?
you make an
Yeah, he
intimidate
should
roll.
be able to.
I make a cowering roll.
Make
You
a hiding.
pass.
Where's
No need to
that?
roll.
So what? Sorry, what are we doing?
So intimidate. It's under
Okay.
brawn.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I have no problem.
Is that a
doing it.
critical
That's a
success?
critical
That's a critical
success.
success.
That's a critical success.
Yes, I passed.
They're both pretty damn
Oh,
scary.
blimey. Okay.
29.
Looks
Okay.
like you might not need me to ambush someone with a bucket.
Okay.
Oh, I was right there, ready and waiting.
Just-
You're not what I
yeah.
told you to go.
You come running up. I'm ready. Oh, they've run away.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
With his little dagger.
Right, hang
I'm
on.
perfectly happy
Just
to not have to
seeing if
ambush
there's
someone.
anything in particular. Just still getting used to all the rules, so we're just checking things over.
Brilliant.
That's what I wanted to
really
be.
good.
Getting out there and taking damage. And
Okay,
Excellent.
I also don't want to.
I'm gonna classify this as hard
okay.
because that's written down as making a threatening gesture to force a guard to abandon their post, which I think is a similar. You're making him stop doing his job. He's clearly there a heavy to do a job.
And it's 5 to 2, so
Yep.
it's
Yep.
Why are we picking this fight together?
Yes. If it
Okay.
hits the fan,
You
it'll be
did a
5 to
critical
3 when
success.
in theory tries to.
So, okay. So, what did you roll?
It's
If you
fine.
roll a
that's 22.
double,
I made a success that was
I'm
a double.
actually surprisingly
Right, okay.
I thought
effective.
so that's why it's a success.
Got you.
That's all.
Okay.
do you have intimidate?
I don't, but I'm
So what?
29 or 41.
So what happens is, if you don't have the skill, if you roll it and you succeed, you have to flip the numbers.
No, that's only for Star
That's
Wars.
only-
Oh, it's not Star Wars.
It's not Star
Okay,
Wars.
that's all right.
Anyone can be.
That's all right then. That's
look
fine.
hard.
Cool. Anyone can look hard.
I
Okay.
know I do have
Hard.
intimidate.
So-
It's minus
He does,
20
yeah.
though.
Hard is
Hard is-
minus
Yeah,
20.
minus 20.
But that you'll
So
have
you-
smashed
So that's
it
a
anyway.
minus
succeeded
20.
at minus
Yeah.
Yeah,
20.
Simon still passed on a critical.
Right.
With a hard roll.
Yeah.
Impressive. So he looks at you, yeah, and you're like this
pretty scary.
you're this
not quite
gamekeeper
scary
guy.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
he starts
with a bow, and he
shaking.
no, but
Yeah.
you're standing there fairly
Yeah.
firm. He can tell you're good with a bow, but he looks at you and he thinks you're probably not really a fighter. And then you're standing there looking like you are world weary, war
I'm pissed
weary.
off, and I can't.
I don't
even
want to
bother
have to
draw my
fucking kill
sword.
you.
Yeah.
Come
That's
on, man! I
exactly-
don't want to have to fucking kill you. And that attitude,
Brilliant.
that
Don't make
kind
me
of
kill you.
feeling, he just looks at you and he thinks that guy could probably kill us. And he pauses and he looks from the guys holding to you, and he hang on, I've got my notes all mixed up. Staples really help. That's my advice for this adventure. My one bit of advice so far. Okay, hang on, get to the right bit. Not that one. Here we go. Okay, so says trying to intimidate your way out of this will not work unless you come up with something pretty special. And I think a critical success on a hard roll is something pretty special. And they look at you and they can tell you've been through the blood war, you've seen horrible things, you've fought both sides of the river and you're still here. Both your ears, your nose and all your fingers. You're pretty tough. So this guy backs off and he goes, Fingal, you fuck up again, I'm going to be all over you. These arseholes aren't going to be here forever. They're not going to be here tomorrow. We'll come and get you and we'll sort you out. Fine. Have your win today. Whatever. Conrad will hear about this. And then you're in serious trouble. Come on, boys. And they're like, well, you're going to fucking back off, are you? It's like, shut the fuck up. Let's get out of here. Come on. And they like kind of wander off and they're like, you know, giving him some shit as they walk off. And he's like, fuck. He punches one of them and he's like, tries to assert his dominance again once in the group. And he sort of punches one guy in the face and they all sort of storm off together. Have 20 reward points for an amazing
Coming out holding
Yeah.
my dirk. So is this happening?
Yeah, we're ready.
do I have to brock someone up?
Where
Now,
are the reward points on that
Pete.
shitty thing?
They're above
Come
your,
on,
they're above your skill.
Yeah,
Please.
Ticky left.
Can I ask, right, in terms of that, does Bertolt, because he's slightly
Oh, yeah.
in
Your
front
professional
and he's like that,
Yeah.
and they've done that,
Yeah.
does he recognise the fact it's the main man that's done it?
Make an
or does
awareness roll
he
plus
think
30%.
in his mind it was because him stepping
Sure.
up? So his whole
Yeah.
idea of
Make an awareness roll plus 30%. Because he is a seasoned veteran,
yeah,
it's more likely that it's him, but you may think that it's
Yeah,
you.
so
So if
I'd
you
like a
fail this roll,
if you fail,
then you think it's you.
He gets a much
Yep.
greater idea about himself.
Yep.
So it's an awareness 42 plus 10, so
Plus 30.
Plus 30. 82,
26.
Yeah.
He realises, so he
Yeah.
turns round and nods.
But
and
you
says,
also know that he wouldn't have done anything if you hadn't done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn right.
So Bertolt, as he puts his, drops the bow and everything, he looks at him and just goes, "Thank you." Realises.
That's
when
when
the
it
gnome
very
emerges with the
messy.
dagger, like a hero.
Yes. But he feels good about himself, but he realises it wasn't him that really.
Absolutely. But you stood up for what was right.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
And
So
he just,
Diesel's there, and he's like,
"This guy's an idiot."
"Well,
Keep him in the brothel.
you guys are really causing a stir in town, aren't you?"
Putting the whole
Who's this? Sorry.
Diesel from the cage
Okay.
says to you, "You guys better watch out. Canard is like pretty much runs this town. You know,
I was just going to go and ask you exactly that. They went for Canard then.
He's that deviant, isn't he?
What?
That deviant.
We haven't established much about him.
you've heard his
You
name.
know the name, but you've not told us.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was the
You don't know.
Count guy.
You haven't heard. No, that's
No.
right. Count Byron.
Count Byron, sorry.
Count Byron.
My apologies.
Yeah, he says.
So if
The guy who's going to be trying to get the break the guy out of prison or whatever it is, that's Conrad. Or Conrad. But
Yeah,
we don't know
Conrad,
because he's not
but-
mentioned. He said somebody's going to do it. He didn't mention.
Yeah, so
Conrad,
we haven't
it's the name of the
mentioned
guy.
that yet. But I mean, if we're
His
out
name.
of earshot, I can.
The halfling animal's
Diesel.
back up.
Yeah, Diesel's there. No one else is around. The peddler's kind of picking all his stuff up.
Well, first of all, Bertolt will go over just to
Okay.
make sure he's all right, and
Oh, he's got like a, he's been torn. His clothes are a bit torn and stuff. He's like, "Oh, thank you. These things are getting out of hand in town. This is just these people. This protection money. I make no money myself. I have to pay. So you can. He points over to some of the buildings around. You can see they've driven people out of town. They're making this town into their own little den, their own little hive. They've got people coming up and down the river. I don't know why I stay. I mean, I really should be getting out of town, but I feel that I should stay and try and sell my wares and do the right thing. It's like, sorry, you don't need to know my.
Said if I were you, it's probably time to move on if you think it's safe. If there's not many people for you to make money.
Yes. Look, I have some meager things, and if I can help you in any way, I can give you a discount on my wares.
What do you
Here.
What do
He
you?
has cheap, crappy wares. He has no armor, shields, weapons, or anything.
Arrows?
He has food. He has a few arrows.
I'll take the.
It's
How much?
just
are the
for
arrows?
a couple of pennies for you.
Yep.
Thank you for saving me. They're not great arrows. They
Oh.
look like they're
I'll make a
kind of
note that they're
nicely
substandard, but
shredded twigs more than proper arrows.
yeah,
I'll
I'll make a note of their
take a
quality.
fish and throw him a coin.
Thank you.
Um,
My name is Fingal.
That's good.
I'd watch out. He points over, and you can see that the guys have gone across the town square and gone into the other tavern. They hang out at Sigmund's Flask. That's Monsieur Conard's place. He likes to be called Monsieur. His name's Bruno. He's a
Well, if you
dick.
can't get the cash, you're better off travelling.
But I can't afford travel down the river. I've got no money. What do? Walk out into the wilds with all the orcs and creatures of chaos living in the woods? I have nowhere. I have nowhere to go. I have to stay here, otherwise I die.
I'll go and chat to the guy in the cage.
Can we put him on the
What's his
boat?
name?
Diesel.
Diesel.
Can we put him on the boat?
You're saying that out loud.
Say that to
No, I
someone else.
don't need no.
There's a look from Berthold, but you're walking over to.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
look at Jesus.
no, it's.
I'm guessing that's what it's going to do anyway. But
Yeah, Bertolt's
care.
like he likes helping people, but he's not like
Not an
Mother
idiot.
Teresa.
Yeah,
It's like,
and he's not an idiot.
yeah.
More importantly. Can I have a
assume-
picture of that?
yeah,
Shoot
I
please
my
assume he
picture.
doesn't happen to have any silver darts.
No.
as you said earlier, he has paper darts.
Yeah.
You can try casting it using a paper dart. It might not work.
So those.
Oh man, you're in trouble, says Diesel. Monsieur's going to come after you. He's runs the, Sigmund's Flask. He's trying to get his claws into One Eyed Jacob's, but old Madame, she's holding fast, and I held the door. So, it's not long. It's not long. Everyone's going to leave or give in. This town is screwed.
How many?
I'll give him the fish. I mean, is he?
It's kind of hungrily.
How many
tears
people
it.
does this Conard have under his employ?
Well, the story is that when the Reeves changed shift, as they like to say, nearby, the local constabulary were swapped out. Since then, he's had a sort of reinforcement from the local prison, and he's got a gang of ex-cons working for him, running the town, extorting protection money out of businesses. The only few left are the ones that have to be here to keep the town running so it doesn't squeeze them too hard. But he's trying to get a hold of the river. That's what I've been told. I just look after the door. Whoever pays me to do that, that's fine by me. When they start punching me in the face in the fucking pub after I've had 10 pints, doesn't give me a very good name. But, maybe I should, yeah.
Perhaps you want to be considered more of a hero.
I'm no fucking hero, mate.
You might not be, but what if the town saw you as one?
He sort of gives you a tell me more look.
Wreck-It Ralph. Look.
Well, there might be something happening tonight that you could be of service in, for a fee, of course.
What do you mean?
As in, are you looking for, earning yourself a few pennies?
Well,
He's in the gibbet.
you need to get me out. You need to talk to
Obviously, if we can.
Truman. I think he's.
Why'd you get put in there? Just for wandering hands last night.
They every now and then, I get put in here to cool off. I can't.
And if we
I can't help it. It's just something I drink, and then I can't. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Indeed.
He seems to be trying to convince himself
Yeah, more than
you guys.
Yeah.
If we can get you out of there, would you be interested in earning a few pennies and becoming more of a
Pennies.
That's what I have, right?
You hope
Thank you, just the middle
has a
one.
look
Brass
inside.
pennies, because I don't have any other shillings.
So you need some muscle for the night. What's going on?
Well,
He starts to.
What's that half?
himself.
You were scared. What's that halfling doing? You were scared
It's
of him.
fucking crazy. He'd lock me up in here. They gave he's been passing through. They gave him some pennies to lock me up. Normally it's the toll keeper, but he's been staying in his tower.
but what if the
The last few
tollkeeper were
nights.
to hold you in higher regard?
That would sort out some of my problems, probably.
Well, perhaps you may be able to be of service.
Well,
The tollkeeper might need some extra men of your caliber this evening.
Right. Look, if you get me out,
Would you be willing to
I'll help you. I'll
assist?
help you.
The pennies are just between us.
How many pennies?
Yes. Some.
Well,
5?
he's got a fair amount.
4. 4 pennies, and it's between us.
Right. Okay.
Deal?
Make a charm roll. plus 20%.
Oh.
They pay me. I get paid a certain amount. It's like a standard for me. I feel if I get paid any less, then I'm devaluing my
That may be the
skills.
case, but you're not doing this for the money, wink. You're doing this for the good of the town.
And to get out of your current
Fine.
situation.
He says fine. Fine. He didn't roll very well. Fine. Just tell them to let me out.
So if we can get you out, and of course for doing it for, the good of the town, you'll do the job.
Help you.
Help us do the
Where?
job.
What?
Tonight at the toll building,
Toll house.
toll house.
Okay.
Deal? And I'll offer him my hand.
He reaches out between the bars, his big meaty hand, shakes yours. Deal.
Excellent. We'll go get you out of there.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we're walking away, so once we're out of earshot with Diesel, I said, you're going to get fucking killed.
In case anyone didn't hear that.
Better him than us.
And also,
That was very quiet. That was just him.
last night when Diesel got drunk and started groping
Handsy. Yeah.
handsy with
Vivian.
I thought Vivian and Julian. I thought this was the posh lady.
No, you got
No,
handsy with Vivian.
Vivian punched him.
I was Vivian.
And then shouted, "Yes, it worked." to
Yeah,
Marie.
exactly. So that's exactly the point. And she shouted, "Yes, it worked." And he looked very different after he'd been punched. So if
Got a
there's
glass
Marie's a
jaw.
sorceress,
I'm
I've no idea what they can do.
I
But
don't-
is that sort of
He did go down quite heavily.
He
He
did.
also
However,
had a lot to drink.
He did say he had had 10 pints.
yeah,
And
also,
even for a big guy.
you mentioned that this Marie has had
Comes in
military
pints.
training,
yeah, she
so
she's been
might
drilled.
she might have given them some tips in how to defend themselves.
Yeah.
However, if we are going to do this thing to get the boat fixed tonight, I'd rather have an extra pair of hands helping.
So what we're doing tonight, there seems to be
An extra
there's
slug of muscle will
Halfling
help
wanting
him
Marie at
persuade
the,
people to walk away as well.
because this Zach guy or whatever wants her. There's Conrad going to with the Reeves and all the villains going to go and attack the tower.
Does this Conrad chap, is that the one with the statue? Or is that the...
We don't know.
And
who's
there's
got
don't
the-
know
who's
who's
the
the
statue.
Bertolt interjects. and says, okay, from what I've heard from the tollkeeper, is what you can ascertain from what you've just heard is Conrad obviously rules or runs the town. The tollkeeper reckons he's pretty corrupt in terms of how he's running things.
Well, it sounds like he's
he's
running
the
a
one
protection racket.
That's trying to get the ex-employer from out of the tower to get him released, because he's clearly part of this criminal activity that Conrad is running, and that's what the tollkeeper has told.
Indeed, it does all seem
Well,
to
anyone
be...
anyone stands up to him. I mean, we're down the river in like a day. I mean, if we survive it, whatever, we're down the river. I don't care. But anyone in this town who helps that is screwed once we're not here.
However, we have to get
Unless
that
we
boat
can
fixed.
destabilise it enough.
Is that our problem?
It's our problem when we want to come back through it. If he's got the river
Not my
and
plan.
he's charging us £2 to get past or something extortionate.
Indeed, we do need to come back this way.
You've seen the boom across the river.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty hefty and it would take some work and you would be massively delayed. You'd be either with sail or oar coming up the river, working hard, trying to get past a boom with people on the toll house, potentially with crossbows or whatever, raining down on you. It's a massively tricky position to...
Well, yeah, but I mean, out of character here, but who controls this land? Is it basically a complete free-for-all, or is there a lord, a king, or whatever who's supposed to be?
There is, but the local reeves are supposed to do that justice for them.
Okay.
And if the local reeves are
Local
corrupt,
Reeves are working with this guy.
they will report back that everything's fine. And remember, this is a grim and perilous world. The duke or duchy or countess or whoever doesn't care and is off in Cahabro having a party. Remember, there's a festival coming up that we talked about. They're probably all in Cahabro having a big party, debauchery.
Well,
And
let him do all this stuff, and then someone can pay us to kind of like smack on the back of the head in like 6 months' time.
I think from Bertolt's point of view, it's not a political thing that he's worried about. So if it's very much black and white with him, it's like, I'm not going to get
This is
involved.
wrong. I will not.
If it's
I will
wrong,
not allow it to-
But if it's
Which
if there's
is
anything more
completely
than
fine. It's just how
Not how
every
Jack's.
character is
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
it's great.
party,
It's
which
great.
is fine.
No, I'm
Yeah.
loving. I'm loving
It's
your.
not
I'm loving
Yeah.
the interactions
and
with
he's
the characters.
struggling with that sort of
My
dynamic.
character, yeah,
It's
my
good.
character kind of wants to be a good guy, and at this point,
He's
is also
trying.
justifying it also in a certain to himself to a certain extent. Is this is actually some self-interest here because
Yeah.
this place turning into a
Because you
Absolutely.
really benefit
cripple the
from
kind of trade
Oh,
I
no.
do.
yeah.
Exactly.
I just want to know what's going on because that's what my alignment is.
Oh, yeah,
I
where's
like to
that?
know
And you've got
what's
some shipment coming in as well.
happening. Yes.
Okay, as you're all standing there, a man walks across from the Sigmund's flask, walks across the town square towards you, and he points at Jax. Hold there. I come bearing no arms. I come to talk.
You have two of them.
He, he laughs. I see
can
you
tell-
are the comedian of the group.
yeah, and as he hides behind his bodyguard and goes,
I say you have two of them.
No, he said it quite cockily because he stood kind of a bit behind it.
Well, now he does. Now he does. Now he does. Right, bear with me 1 second.
You can tell
He
this
says,
man who studied.
I bear you no ill will, he says, through gritted teeth. Monsieur Connard wants to see you at the flask now. That sounds like a trap. To talk.
Well, if he steps out the window, looks at the window, he can see us here.
I suggest you follow me. My boss has a business proposition for you,
Doesn't everyone?
he says.
okay, so
So you guys follow.
we look at each other. Okay, right.
I'm thinking at this point, I am definitely getting the sense of following him, nodding, smiling, agreeing, and then doing something completely different is probably the most
Cool.
survivable course of
Yeah.
action.
Are you gonna? So you're gonna follow this guy across
I'm
towards
not going to
Sigmund's
follow. I'm
flask?
not going to lead, but
Sure, but this guy goes, follow me.
Let's just talk to him, nod and smile, and leave. We just have to delay for a day and a half.
I'm supposed to keep you safe. Stepping into that pub ain't safe. I'll go and talk to him, but you're better off in the One Eyed Jakob's.
Well, I think the other place sounds more interesting, frankly.
He's the
Okay.
most persuasive of our group. He's gonna. No, actually, you failed. Actually, you're right. Yeah. Put him on the boat.
in theory, I should be more
You should be quite good at it.
But, I'm
You gonna follow him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know what's
So
going
you
on.
make your way across the town square.
So
It
he's
starts
good at
to
hiding.
rain again.
He's good at intimidation.
No
It
hiding
starts to
room.
rain again. So the clouds have got a bit darker. The rain starts to fall.
Well, isn't that just shit?
It's terribly.
And that's exactly his words.
The day just gets better and better.
It is terribly noisy inside this cramped, smoky hellhole. The noise, a combination of laughter, jeering, and dog barks. A motley crowd of saw-toothed hunters, haggard-looking gamblers, and rough trade thugs have gathered in a circle to loudly cheer and root as two vicious-looking mutts, not the ones you saw earlier on,
Not yet.
bark and snap at each other in combat inside a sort of shoddily formed ring. Money is changing hands between people. This man pushes around the side of this towards a table at the back, and sitting at this desk with his head down, with coins aplenty on his desk, and a fairly gang of rangy-looking chaps who you may recognise, all standing around looking like they're really pissed off that you're here and they can't tear you limb from limb, eye you with daggers as you approach his table. And you sit down, and he looks up and stares at each of you. And we'll leave it there. That is the end of episode 2
Awesome.
of Grim and Perilous. Morning in Minuet. It's the name of that episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, lots going on in the town. You guys starting to unravel what's going on and see.
Also, just the motivations of the characters and
Absolutely.
how they're kind of playing off.
Brilliant.
It's quite
Brilliant stuff. Really good. So, go and check out the Kickstarter for the Zweihander RPG Chaos Expansion Main Gauche. It looks really cool. There's loads of stuff on there. It's all fully funded. It's like 400% funded. Loads of stretch goals. So it's all really cool. Go check it out. Go check out Zweihander on DriveThruRPG. There's also a load of creator resources. So if you want to start to do things like the DM's Guild have done for D&D, you can now go on and get art packs, templates. I've downloaded all of it. I'm going to start doing something, I think, with one of my settings. Yes. Check that out. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I think we'll have to do a Twitter poll to see who gets a free fortune point for the next episode based on today.
One of those two.
Do I get to keep mine?
You can keep that.
Hey, I might need that to hide.
I'm just saying, I think it should be one of these two. Sorry, it's not clear on the camera. That would be the two humans.
That's not clear on the camera. Anyway.
One of them is him.
Yeah. Okay. And most importantly, don't forget, Roger.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. That one too.
Let us know if we've got any of the rules wrong. We're trying to sort of explore some of them as we go. I thought we might get into a combat that time, but you did such a good roll. That was so good. That was so good.
I'm interested to see how brutal it's going to be. We'll get to like the last
and it'll just be like, and you all die.
It's going to be like the end of Blackadder.
Bear in mind, more Blackadder 2.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. You've all been murdered by him. No, by him, no. Bear in mind, I'm not going to hold back from character deaths in this anyway. But anyway,
It's only 4 sessions.
only 4 sessions. So episode 3 will be with you in a week.
It's fine. If one of us dies, we can play Diesel.
That's true.
or a toll keeper.
Or the
Or the tollkeeper. Or the merchant. Yeah. Or Diego. There's opportunity. So we won't kick someone out. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. Well, anyway, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Please go subscribe to the channel. Check out our other videos. We've got Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. We've got Major Ascension. We've got some old stuff with bad sound if you want to have a look at that. But also a big thank you to our patrons. We've ordered some new sound equipment, more microphones that we're going to test out at the bank holiday here in the UK coming up. But otherwise, we'll see you next time on Grim and Perilous. Bye-bye.